Hello and welcome to How Not to Play, the channel where I play Magic badly. So today I've got my daily quest of casting 30 white or black spells. So we're going to go ahead and do that. If you've seen my channel before, you know that my favorite method of doing that is going into our events, clicking on Starter Deck Duel, and here we can select our white-black deck, Legions of Phyrexia. And so generally that's how we'll go ahead and get my 5 wins for the day. Because 5 wins a day will put you on your mastery path. You'll get your extra XP if you do 5 wins per day. You'll be able to hit your mastery path all the way up through level, 90 by the time it ends. And if you've bought the extra mastery pass for, I think 3,400 gems it is, then you get all these nice little bottom rewards too. And I think it's kind of worth it. And it's really not that hard to get 3,400 gems if you're doing drafts or whatnot. But the problem I have with the starter deck duels is that it's alchemy format. So what is the alchemy format, you might ask? Well, it's got these cards like this that have the little alchemy symbol there on the middle line. It says sorcery and then alchemy 23. And then in the bottom where the rarity hollow usually is, it's got the big A for alchemy. These cards just have different weird effects. Like this one has draft a card from the March Toward Perfection spell book. And we see with Entomber Exarch right above that, this spellbook has 15 different cards that you might be able to pull from it, and you just get one at random. It's got other mechanics like Perpetual. You get a boon that just kind of sticks around, so the next time you cast a spell, it perpetually gets whatever effect, and it's a bunch of weird mechanics that sure can be kind of fun, but don't really translate to a paper game. So if you like alchemy, go for it. If you just want to do some games to get your footing in Magic the Gathering, this is a great way to do it. Because as you can see, the Starter Deck Duel is free to play. So you don't have to put up any gold up front. You don't have to spend any gems. You just pick your starter deck and you go. But if you don't like alchemy, there is a way around that. We can go into our decks tab up here. We can scroll down to our starter decks. We can pick our Legions of Phyrexia Starter Deck. Down here on the bottom, we can hit this clone button, and that will clone our Legions of Phyrexia Starter Deck. So if we go up to the top here, we now see under My Decks, we have Legions of Phyrexia 2. And as we see, this is the exact same deck. So it has just made an exact duplicate. And now we can go into our title bar here. We can click on that, go into our deck details, and we see that it is set to the alchemy format. Now if we want, we can select a standard format, which is my personal favorite. And so now this deck is going to be geared towards standard, except it does have some of those alchemy cards in it, specifically March Towards Perfection. And I think that actually might be the only one. So let's see if we can't find a replacement for this card. So if we go here into our collection, we're going to want something in the 1-drop slot. Either white, black, or colorless. Either collected or not collected. That is legal in the standard format. As we can see, there are quite a few cards that are 1-drop that we could put in here. We are actually going to be looking more for cards that go with our Phyrexian game plan, such as Crawling Chorus. It has an enter the battlefield, or doesn't have an enter the battlefield. When it dies, you get another Phyrexian Might, so it has like a little bit of recursion going on with it. We see that some of these cards are grayed out, which means I do not currently have them in my collection. But if I wanted to put them in there, I can. I would just have to use a wild card. Let's see if we can set it to uncommon to kind of keep the same power level. We do have a Dusk Rose Reliquary. I don't really like the sack effect on that. Elspeth's Smite is a really good removal spell that we could put in. March is supposed to tutor you a creature, so maybe that's not exactly the best fit, but Elspeth's Smite, Lay Down Arms. Once again, those are all very good removal spells. Bilious Skull Dweller is a Death Touch creature, which is a very good blocker. And March Towards Perfection does give a +1 counter with Death Touch, so essentially, March Toward Perfection is just adding Bilious Skull Dweller to whatever the next spell you cast is. So that honestly sounds like a 1-for-1 replacement to me. So I think we'll try it with the Bilious Skull Dweller, and we'll take out March Toward Perfection. I might be tempted to replace it with Cut Down or one of the white removal spells, but we can see how this goes. Basically, that little replacement was only meant to keep this deck at the same power level, but to put it into the standard format. If you wanted to, we could also filter it for our rare slot. And here we get cards like Skrelv Defector Might that we could bring in for protection. We get the Evolved Sleeper, which is a very good card as well. And so you see there are different ways to power up the deck. But let's see how the deck works at base first. And then we can kind of try to upgrade it from there. So since we went through the trouble of making it standard legal, we can go here on the side and find match. We can either play or do ranked. Since we're just testing the deck out to see how well it functions, we'll just keep it on unranked play. This is kind of where people go to see whether or not their deck works the way it's supposed to. And we select our Legions of Phyrexia deck, and we can play a best of 1. We could click it to best of 3, but we'll keep it best of 1. And we can play a standard match. Alright, we've got a nice selection of colors here. We've got Norn's Inquisitor sculpted to perfection, and our Bilious Skull Dweller. Alright, let's go ahead and keep this. Unfortunately, the only way I can put out a turn 1 play is to hurt myself, so let's go ahead and do that. Quetzalcoatl does give you either white or black, but it deals 1 damage to you in the meantime. Let's see, I do have a turn 2 play in Norn's Inquisitor, so let's go ahead, play an untapped land, and start swinging. The Norn's Inquisitor does give me a 2/2 Incubator, and his static ability is that whenever a permanent transforms into a Phyrexian, which the Incubator will do, it gets a +1/+1 counter. So it's not only a 2/2, it is actually going to be a 3/3 once I have transformed it. We'll play my last land. I can either Plane Cycle, Ossify, but he doesn't really have anything worth removing, or I can transform my Incubator. So he is now a 3/3, and we'll go ahead and swing with him. Opponent can chump block him and remove one of his creatures, or he could block with everything and kill all of his creatures and my token. But that's a fair trade, I believe. Alright, that could get... yeah, that could be bad. So Huatli has the ability of transforming into a Saga, which I don't think I want to happen. Opponent is attacking me for 1, there's no reason to block that. So I think I will be using my Ossification to get rid of Huatli, because if she transforms, that's just going to be bad for me. So we'll go ahead and get rid of that. I can still plane cycle my Alabaster Host, but I don't have to do that on my turn. Let's swing in for 3. Maybe he puts the Yearling in front of it. I would like to see that die. He does not. That's okay. I do still have my 1/1 Death Touch as a blocker. And he is going to get rid of my Ossify. Yep. Destroy evil. That is certainly something he can do. So he does get Huatli back. And gets another land out of the deal too, so yeah. I think I'm gonna... Well, let's go ahead and cycle this. Give me a plains. The removal aspect on it would be really good, but I'm still 2 turns off of that, and it'll be an enchantment by then. So I can only cast 1 spell this turn, or I could Phyrexian Awakening plus transform the Incubator. I'm just going to get rid of my Inquisitor in response. Oh no! Okay. Well, that's fine, I guess. I lose my Vigilance, but... He is going to get rid of the Yearling. Oh, he's going to double block. I don't know why he's putting 2 things in front of it, unless he's expecting a combat trick. So I'll just kill them both, sure. Now, my Incubator token would have Summoning Sickness if I... Oh my goodness, that's a big thing. That's a really big thing. So if I transformed the Incubator, it would still have Summoning Sickness and it would not be able to attack. But with my opponent coming in, I don't know if they realize I can activate that at instant speed to block with. So I'll just go ahead and kill their Huatli, thank you very much. Let's go with an Essence of Orthodoxy. Yeah, I think I'm gonna need that flyer to help get over his board. Attacking into that 8/8 would probably not be a good idea, so we're just gonna pass the turn. See if he likes to swing in again. Or just cast another really big thing. Oh god, this is gonna hurt. So I think I'm going to double block to kill Tyrannus Rex, take the damage from the Imperiosaur, but my Death Touch will ensure that they both die. Two, four, I've got 6 mana, so I can Sculpted Perfection with 2 mana open to transform a blocker. Oh my Galta! Alright, Heart of the Cards, here we go, luck of the draw, we will go ahead and get rid of him. Who Dodge that bullet. And we'll keep 2 mana open to transform. Resolute reinforcements. Alright, it looks like the opponent has finally fizzled out. We got through all of their big things. And now I think we are firmly in control of this game. So we'll make our block. Opponent's got no cards in hand. Okay, they have a card in hand, but they're out of mana. Oh, and we find Alabaster Host, Intercessor. Wonderful. So if they do find another Galta or something, I could use that to get rid of it. I think for now it is a Bloated Processor. With this one, I can sacrifice my others to make it bigger. We'll go ahead swinging with my big guys. He has to block at least one of them, or else he dies. He's going to block both. Very nice. And then I think we're in a pretty good position to just win now. Oh, he does have a really big guy, Kogla and Yadaro. He can give it haste and trample, or he can fight something. He is giving it haste and trample. Okay. So he plans to swing in, which normally I'd be afraid of, but I'm at 11 health. He can only do 7 damage to me, so there's no reason for me to block. He's not going to kill me. He has nothing in hand. So really, I don't even have to do this. I just swing out and he dies, but I want him to know that I had it. Yeah, I think that was kind of fun. And so there we have it, our Legions of Phyrexia deck put into Standard. Let me know in the comments below if you want to see more of this kind of content going forward, and I can certainly do that with the rest of the starter decks. As for upgrades, like I said, Skrelv is a very good one. It can give your big threats protection from opponent interaction. Skrelv's Hive is a very good aggro play. It pumps out a 1/1 every turn at the low cost of 1 life. Phyrexian Vindicator is an amazing bomb. I don't have any in my collection currently, but if you do, feel free to put that in place of your Infected Defectors, your Essence of Orthodoxy maybe. Let's see, Elish Norn will double up any enter the battlefield triggers, such as your Sculpted Perfection, your Essence of Orthodoxy. Whenever something enters the battlefield, you get that Incubator token, and Elish Norn would double all of those, so that would be a decent addition if you've got one of those. White Sun's Twilight is really neat in that it can give you a board wipe. You would create, let's say, 5 1/1 Phyrexian Mites, and then destroy all other creatures. So if your opponent is getting ahead of you for 7 mana, you can blow up all of his stuff, leave yourself with 5 creatures. On the lower end, Evolved Sleeper is a very good pick, and I would probably put those in over the Bilious Skull Dweller. He doesn't start out as a Phyrexian, but if you pump some mana into him, he becomes a Phyrexian human cleric with 3/3. And you can keep putting +1 counters on him with his 3rd ability to draw cards, and so it's a very good form of card advantage in much the same way that Phyrexian Arena is. Phyrexian Arena, also just an amazing card. Feel free to put another one of those in there. Vron is an interesting one in that he will allow, whenever something of yours dies, you leech life off of your opponent. I would probably replace the Grafted Butcher with a Vron instead. Yeah, Butcher has the Anthem effect and the ability to recur. So depending on your playstyle, you might want that instead and just put another one of him in. But I do like the leech life off of Bran, which gives you a non-combat way of winning the game. Phyrexian Obliterator is an amazing addition to the deck in much the same way that Phyrexian Vindicator was. You could put a couple of each in. They both have similar but different effects. The Obliterator, whenever it takes damage, your opponent has to sacrifice that many permanents. With the Vindicator, you prevent that damage and then redirect it to one of your opponent's things. So you can block something really big with your Vindicator, it'll take the damage, push the damage back onto your opponent's creature or whatever, whereas the Vindicator or the Obliterator would just make him lose it. Children of the Apocalypse, for some reason I don't have any in my collection, but she is like one of the biggest black cards in Standard right now, so definitely throw a few of those in if you can. And there's just so many different ways you can upgrade this deck, up to and including Breach the Multiverse, where you just mill 10 cards off of each deck and play a card off of each for free. So I mean, there's definitely a lot of different ways this deck can go, and you can kind of mix and match it to your own desire, however you want it. You can make it more control-y by putting in more of like these O-ring effects, exile until it leaves the battlefield. There's plenty of cards that can do that. Brutal Cathar is a very good white exile effect. It doesn't quite go with the Phyrexians, but it is still that exile effect on a creature. Werefox Bodyguard has that same effect out of the Eldraine set. Once again, not a Phyrexian, but you can use him to actually exile one of your own creatures in response to opponent removal or board wipe. So you can flash in the Bodyguard, protect your big creature or whatever until it, dies. Or you can exile one of your opponent's things. Wandering Emperor is notorious for her -2 ability. You flash her in, exile a tapped creature, usually an attacker, gain 2 life for it. Wandering Emperor, once again, a standard all-star. And your board wipes in Sunfall and Farewell. March of Otherworldly Light is another good one. And then you have cards like The End that not only exiles the creature or planeswalker at hand, but also all copies of it out of your opponent's deck. So, I mean, there's definitely plenty of different ways that you can take this deck, upgrade it, and make it your own. You can make it more aggro, you can make it more controlling, and still kind of keeping with the theme. So have fun with it, and let me know in the comments below what you would do to modify this deck into Standard and kind of give it your own feel. What are some of your favorite cards on this theme? And let me know. While you're down there, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel for more content, and I will see you in the next video.